Hello, my name is Corey, and welcome to this latest video on Shaman COVY'S Emporium of Awesome. Uh, this is probably one of the first videos I've made for this channel, and I'm going to be recording some videos to post here, primarily to do with my Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I live stream. So I'll be posting some videos here, so I thought I'd just make a quick introduction to myself and kind of just go through what it is I'm going to be doing and some details about it. So appreciate you guys all for being here, and let's jump right in. So just to give a quick overview, so again, my name is Corey. My name is not Covy. I am the DM for our campaign. I am what would be called a forever DM. For the last 30 years or so, I've played many RPGs, mostly D&D, from second edition or basic edition even, all the way through a lot of time with third edition and fourth, and now in fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons. I've played a lot of other RPGs as well, but I'm almost always a DM, so I have a lot of experience in that regard. I have 5 players in my current campaign. We have Andre. He's on Twitch here as well. Andre Krat does a lot of miniature painting and that kind of thing. He's going to be playing Aelin. Liz, who is my cousin, she's playing Archie. Brad, who is Liz's husband in real life, he's going to be playing Baz. Ryan's a good friend of mine. He is playing Blackwind, and John. He is also joining us playing Jonah. I've played with all these players before in previous campaigns that we did live stream here on Twitch as well, for the most part. So this is actually our third main campaign. The players kind of switch out sometimes here and there. There's been some other players as well, but this has been a pretty consistent group, so I feel like we've got a really good vibe going. So the details. So we live stream our games every Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific time to around 10 p.m. On Twitch. So twitch.tv/pinwarp2 is the channel there. I will also be loading the sessions here to the YouTube channel, Shaman COVY'S Emporium of Awesome. That's where you're watching this video now. So I'll be uploading the live play sessions there, as well as maybe some other content. There could be some DM preps content, some reviews, that kind of thing. As well, there might be some kind of workshop, kind of DM journal kind of videos and that kind of thing. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in that kind of thing. So what is it? So like I said, it's a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons game. So if you're not familiar, Dungeons and Dragons is the most famous tabletop RPG. It's usually played with pen and paper, dice and pencils, and you kind of sit around a table. You tell fantastical stories about fighting evil creatures, looting all sorts of fantastic treasure, and going on adventures. So a lot of it is theater of the mind, but we also use like miniatures and maps, and we roll dice to determine the outcomes of events. So it's part game, part storytelling, a lot of imagination, and just an all-around great time. It's one of my favorite things to do. In fact, it is my favorite hobby that I've had the pleasure of being a part of. So if you've never played, stick around, watch. You can enjoy these videos and hopefully get into the game yourself, because it is a fantastic pastime that really sparks creativity and makes a lot of good memories. It's just a fantastic way to spend an afternoon with friends. So we are using the 5th edition of the game, which is the latest edition. I am using the official Tomb of Annihilation module, which is a written adventure by Wizards of the Coast. I am also including some Adventure League content, as well as some Unearthed Arcana, some third-party DMs Guild supplements, and a whole host of homebrew content. I do a lot of tweaking and merging of all these different things to kind of make the adventure my own. I do have a good amount of house rules. I'm not going to go into them in this video. I will probably end up posting another video at some point, maybe going over some of those house rules, but I'll have a link either at the bottom of this video or in one of those new videos outlining what kind of house rules we have. There's a fair bit that I've created over the course of some time, just through experience, just things we want, and to set the tone of the game. I've changed a few things just to get us off on the right foot. Now we do play online. We are all over the place in the U.S. and Canada, so we can't get together in person. We do play online. We use Fantasy Grounds Unity as our virtual tabletop for dice rolling and using, moving our tokens around the maps and that kind of thing. As well as we use Discord for voice and video to talk with each other, and it works really well. We play some background music through Discord and that kind of thing. So a little bit about the campaign. So the tone and theme of the campaign, this is a bit of I say lower magic, but it's just not a kind of a high fantasy magic. It's a bit grittier. It's a little bit slower paced in the fact that we don't level often. We spend a lot of time at each level really digging into the content and the characters. There's a big focus on exploration and discovery. The campaign takes place in the exotic continent of Chult, which is kind of a South American, African mashup, heavy jungles, forgotten ruins, and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of some kind of swashbuckling, tomb raiding kind of action, and kind of pulpy feel. So it's inspired by things like, if you're familiar with video games like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Spelunky, Far Cry, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, those kind of games. That's a lot of flavor that way. Board games like Ink and Gold, Pirates Cove, Jamaica, Forbidden Island, Fortune and Glory, all great games. Books, classics like Heart of Darkness. Then you've got like Congo, Jurassic Park. There's Dinosaurs, The Lost World, The Land That Time Forgot. Those are some books that kind of have the same kind of feel. And if you've seen movies like Romancing the Stone or the Indiana Jones franchise, the Jurassic Park movies, Jumanji, Mummy franchise, Conan, all those kind of things, this kind of mashes up a lot of those different elements into that kind of game. Now there's three pillars. There's a big focus on the exploration pillar, so this is personal goals, quests, and roleplay. There's a big focus on discovering things, uncovering lore, engaging with plot and quests, and learning about the world, both for the players and in character. The social pillar, there is a very rich hub city known as Port Nyanzaru, which has a lot of NPCs, and there's some very interesting NPCs and locations throughout the world. But a lot of the social pillar will be either with those NPCs or those NPCs they decide to take along in their expeditions out into the jungle. But a lot of RP will also be between the players themselves and in character. And of course, what would a D&D campaign what would it be without combat? There is plenty of combat. It's a dangerous world. A lot of dangerous things that may not necessarily be what you might not want to fight. There's other ways around, rather than just fighting to death. But there's a lot of dangerous monsters and beasties and undead and dinosaurs and all sorts of things out there. So that combat pillar is definitely present. So we are, as of this video, we are actually 25 sessions in, or episodes in, if you will. The characters are level 4, about halfway or so through level 4. So in the first tier of play still. We haven't been recording videos up to this point for the most part, and we didn't miss a big stretch of time. We had some technical issues, and so I wasn't able to record about 10 of the episodes. So we played a lot of that without streaming or posting it. We want to get back into it, so I thought I'd post this as a kind of like catch you up to where we are now, so you can watch this and then you can go jump right in and watch the next live session, or the VOD when it's posted to YouTube. So just a brief discussion about the characters. We have 5 main characters. I'll just go through each of them and then give you a quick background on where we're at. So character introduction. So our first character is Aelin Irwin. He is played by Andre. He's a level 4 Scourge ASMR, so that's kind of a god-blooded celestial heritage kind of race. He's playing a Way of the Astral Self monk, kind of a psychic monk that can summon psychic arms to defeat his enemies with, and he's got the inherited background. So his character is the brother to Liz's character Archie. He was orphaned when he was young, raised apart from Archie, and Aelin was raised in a monastery to the Silver Flame, and that's where he learned his abilities. Now he has a personal quest. He received a mysterious inheritance letter with a strange key attached and a set of coordinates in Chult from a mysterious figure known as Sindra Sylvain. And his goal is to learn more about that inheritance, what it's all about, what is the key going to, and one of his primary motivations is to protect his sister. Speaking of his sister, that's our second character, played by Liz, Aracelis Irwin. She is a Protector ASMR wizard. She's of the school of Gollomancy, and she's an archaeologist for her background. She's also known as Archie Reed, her alias. She's Aelin's brother, sister to Aelin. It's a typo there. And she has a golem companion that follows her around and helps her fight, named Gerald. She was also orphaned, of course, when she was young, and she grew up and studied in the scholarly academy known as Candlekeep, outside of Baldur's Gate. Her personal quest, she was sent on an expedition by Candlekeep to Chult, and she is tasked with finding the Company of the Yellow Banner, who came to Chult before her, and they were seeking the lost city of Omu in the depths of the jungle. She is motivated by love of history and is eager to make a name for herself in her field of archaeology. So that's a little about Archie. Our next character is Baz, who's played by Brad. He is a Loxodon, which is kind of a elephant mammoth kind of humanoid creature. He's playing a rune knight with a fighter, so he kind of uses special Asturian giant runes of magic to invoke various abilities, and he's kind of a martial character with a big sword. He's got the Far Traveler background. He's got a bit of an exotic race, an exotic location. He's also a chef by trade. Now his backstory, he was captured by slavers and forced to be an attraction in a sideshow in a circus, but he was rescued by Sindra Sylvain, and he worked for her for a few years. Sindra died to a mysterious death curse, and on her dying bed, she tasked Baz with traveling to the land of Chult and seeking out and assisting a man known as Artis Kimber. He doesn't know much about him yet, but he is interested in finding out. Our fourth character is Blackwind. He is a half-orc and also has drow heritage in him. He's a ranger and a wanderer background. He is a tattooist and a survivalist, and I should mention Blackwind is played by Ryan. Blackwind has been plagued by visions he interprets as omens sent by his spirits, or his god perhaps, of a foul black obelisk in the shadowed ruins of a city deep in a dark jungle. And he's had this recurring dream for a while now. So in order to figure out what it means and what it's trying to tell him, he sought out to understand these visions. He met with the renowned scholar known as Sindra Sylvain, who pointed him towards the city of Omu in Chult. So off he went. And finally, we have Jonah, played by John, Gnome Artificer. He is a guild artisan for the Guild of the Badger, a isolationist gnome commune outside of Baldur's Gate. They have a tradition upon coming of age that they send their youth out into the world to experience everything the world has to offer, and get into all sorts of hijinks and adventure, do as much as possible, because they have to make a choice if they ever come back to their home. They have to stay there basically forever and not go out again. Or if they choose not to, then they essentially are exiled from their home. So Jonah is out on his kind of rumspringa and is attempting to experience and see as much as he can, and this has taken him to the exotic land of Chult. So that's their characters. So what have they done so far? We've played for, like I said, 25 sessions, and they've leveled up to level 4. But essentially, the background of this campaign is, in the first 25 sessions, the character arrived by sea to the peninsula of Chult, which is far away from their land of the Sword Coast, across the ocean, to Port Nyanzaru, an exotic port city. They spent some time in the city seeing the sights and getting to know the factions. There are many NPCs and factions, a lot going on in the city. I'm not going to go through it all, but suffice it to say, there is plenty to do and plenty to see. But the main things are, it's run by a council of 7 merchant princes, and there's a lot of politics and things going on there with them and their families. There are some 5 main temples, and Port Nyanzaru was kind of a recently liberated from kind of a colonial rule, so they've got their independence under these merchant princes. But the temples to some of the new gods, like Savras and Sune and Gond, exist in the city. Um, there's also the mysterious Itepka Society, which is also known as the Triceratops Society, and they are kind of a secretive organization that kind of keeps the peace in the city and kind of fights crime and that kind of thing. There's also outside influences known like the Flaming Fist of Baldur's Gate, a very colonial organization that has their designs on looting some of the riches of Chult. The Order of the Gilded Eye is a religious, kind of a bit of a fanatical organization whose primary goal is to root out evil and undead. So they've got a presence in the city in the area. There's the traditionalist Jaws of Sekala, worshippers of a primal shark god known as the Devourer. They are kind of rabble rousers and troublemakers. They've made some terrorist attacks in the city, and they're trying to drive out the foreign influences in the city. They want to return to the more traditional way of life of the Chultan people, and many other colorful NPCs. So while in this city, they needed to take on some odd jobs, gain some experience, gain some money to help fund their expeditions into the jungle, and in addition to their personal quests and trying to find some leads on those various quests that I talked about, the big problem is, of course, this wasting disease known as the Death Curse, which is slowly killing anyone who gets it and preventing their resurrection through any magical means. So it's a bit of a big deal, and it's kind of the backdrop of everything else that's going on. So while doing some of these quests, the characters discovered a plot by a mysterious criminal organization known only as the 12, who seem to be working with influences outside the city known as the Yanti, which is an evil kind of primordial snake peoples, all into like blood magic and sacrifice and evil things like that. They broke up a smuggling ring, a drug manufacturing location, and defeated some undead that were loose in the city, and found pieces of a mysterious amulet that seems to be of Yanti origin. But before they could discern the true intentions of the 12 and what was going on with this, they decided to embark on their first expedition out of the city. They hired one of the local guides, Salida, who they become quite good friends with over the course of their expedition, and were assisting a priestess of Torm known as Undril Silvertusk, a member of the Order of the Gilded Eye, to a camp to the south along the River Soshinstar. So they left the city, they journeyed to where the camp was supposed to be, known as Camp Righteous. That was seemingly destroyed by an undead attack, but they cleared out some ancient ruins there, found some leads, and managed to bring Undril to a further forward camp known as Camp Vengeance, where her order had set up a secondary camp. They assisted the Gilded Eye in the camp with a few of their problems, and while doing so, they also scouted a large plateau that jutted out of the jungle, known as Mbala, which had a ghost village atop it. There they encountered some ruins and a foul creature, a hag known as Nani Pupu, who aided in the destruction of Mbala. After some hijinks and combat and exploration there, they managed to destroy her and free some of the trapped spirits that were there, and also learn a lot about the surrounding area. They made some good maps, and then decided to kind of cut their losses for now, having seen a good portion of the jungle, got their feet wet out there in their first expedition. They went back up the river, back to Port Nyanzaru, where they are now. So they're back in the port. They are continuing their investigations of the 12, and this led them just recently, in the last few sessions, to a secret lair just outside the city in an area known as Old City. A mad halfling known as Viplo, a member of the 12, was experimenting seemingly with vampire blood, using these experiments to trying to create an elixir of eternal life, but instead just creating horrific abominations. They destroyed his operation and slew Viplo, and met with the secretive Itepka Society, who some of the NPCs they were doing odd jobs with turned out they were members of this society, and they kind of asked them if they would officially assist them with dealing with the 12. And there's 2 main leads they have right now, and this is where we're going as of the next session, in fact. One of the leads is a plague ship known as the Black Dog, where they believe this vampire blood may have come into the city through the smuggling network. So they want to go to that ship and check it out, but they suspect there might be a vampire on board, so that could be interesting how they deal with that. The secondary to that is a warehouse that the Utepka suspects houses the Yuan-ti leader, and that has a whole host of dangers themselves. They've got 4 pieces of this Yuan-ti amulet. They don't know what it does. They don't know what the Yuan-ti's plans are, how they link with the 12. So going there could be a very good way of figuring that out. So we'll see which of those 2 options they choose. I'm betting they go for the Black Dog first, and it should be interesting. It is important to note as well that tensions are high in the city. The presence of so many foreigners and colonial interests coming into the continent has really created a bit of a gold rush mentality with some of the ancient ruins, and with the people of Chult recently winning their independence from foreign influence, there is a big portion of the population that really doesn't want these foreigners and their new gods coming into the land. They're being riled up by the traditionalist elements, and that's causing a lot of tension. It's a bit of a tinderbox right now. So this is the backdrop that all of this is happening at. It should be a very interesting game, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. So if this sounds interesting to you, I know that was a lot of information, but it's hard to wrap 25 sessions into a single video. I really hope you'll join us. Again, every 4 p.m. Sundays Pacific time, we live stream on Twitch, and I will post the videos here on YouTube as well. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to making some more videos for the channel, and I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Thanks, guys.